gosh, I'm excited about today because I think I'm going to strike some nerves, which makes me excited. I like poking the fire sometimes, but I think that I'm going to get a lot of, oh, hell yeah. Yep, and a lot of epiphanies because I myself went through this year. You might have seen me talking about it, and I think it's something that's going to rock your dang world. Boundaries. Let's talk about them. Because I got very invested in this concept of what boundaries I need to set, what non-boundaries that I'm setting are triggering me where I don't realize that I'm getting triggered. And I went through this, I guess, set of questions that I'm going to share with you. And it really helped. I didn't need to cut anybody out of my life or do anything that was crazy. And you might be thinking that. I feel like as soon as we think boundaries, we think, well, I'm burning that bridge and that's done. And that means confrontation. And I don't want to do that. I would rather just deal with the pain of the soul-sucking situation. And I get you. As an introverted person, I hate confrontation. And I don't want to burn bridges. And I also don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, especially if the person that you want to create boundaries with or the situation is an employer or an employee and you don't want to hurt them, or maybe a family member. That can happen. So I want to kind of go through and pick your brain a little bit on this. But if there's something that comes to mind that you're I need to set a boundary with this situation, drop it in the live chat. I'll tell you a secret. Here's what I'm going to tell you. No one is going to be on the live chat in terms of long-term views on this channel. So if you're on the live chat now, you can use it as your diary and share everything. You can share the tea because the odds of that person being on with you is very slim. So you can say what you want to say. And if you don't want to, then write it down in your planner or your journal. And I'm going to go through this with you. Okay. So this is a safe zone. Share away. So if you know in your heart of hearts, let's just start with that, gut punch reaction. Where do you know you need to set boundaries? Just gut reaction. Where is it? Work, family, home life, friends? What is it? So I will go through some different situations with you, not necessarily my own personal situations, just situations that I've helped other people deal with and that other people I've seen them have an epiphany on, and just things that I've learned myself. So obviously one of the biggest ones that we kind of downplay, I feel, is family. Because family's kind of our friends that aren't chosen for us, we're just given them. And sometimes, here's a word that I want you to kind of wrap your head around. You aren't compatible. It's just a fact. You might be actually more compatible with some of your friends because you probably chose them based off of similar values. Having similar family members doesn't mean that you always have the same values. And this can particularly happen when it's not your immediate family or your spouse. So this could mean an in-law of some sort or a cousin, or everybody's got one crazy cousin or one crazy sister-in-law or one crazy, uncle, whatever, that is just, you're what? Why do you have to ruin every family event? That type of thing. So you don't have to beat yourself up about it. It's not that you're a bad person. You might just not be compatible. And does that mean that you have to burn the bridge? No, it just means that you need to set some boundaries. So thinking about that from a family standpoint, and it could be immediate family, it could be non-immediate family, it could be greater extended family. What does that look like? And we're going to try and figure out which boundaries we need to set and then how to set the boundaries. So one that I think is really common is work, because we're just so demanded of all the time with any employer, any job situation. It can be even if you're self-employed, that you feel you just need to set boundaries with the actual job. Or if you have an employer, you need to set boundaries with how much they're asking you to do. Let's say you're going beyond the scope of a 9 to 5, if that's your hours that you work. That's ridiculous, especially if it's an employer. And we can get into that on another day, but that's something that triggers me. I just think that it's insane when people tell me, oh, well, I work my job from this hours to this hours, and it's a 12-hour day. And I'm why? What hours are you supposed to work? And they're well, 9 to 5. I'm then why are you working it? You're not being paid more. It's just what's demanded of us, and we want to perform. And dependent on your Enneagram, you could be completely overperforming and draining yourself just to please that person. And you're not getting paid more, you're not getting promoted. So you've got to figure out how to set those boundaries. And obviously boundaries can scope from friendships to family members and work in all different environments. And you can even need to set boundaries with yourself on what you're allowing yourself to do. So thinking about it from that standpoint. But what's something that you could do today that sets a boundary for the future that doesn't necessarily need to burn a bridge? And shoot, listen, can I just say this? If you want to burn the bridge, burn the dang bridge. Like, safe zone, I've burnt bridges that needed to be burnt. And for me, I will share with you the extreme, okay? And then we're going to go to to me, the extreme of burning a bridge doesn't need to be aggressive, doesn't need to be anxiety causing. It can be, I've decided that person who has hurt me or whatever it might be is no longer going to be in my life. So let's say that one day they do text me or they do come back or whatever, I'm going to put that boundary up. There will not be a reply to that text. That's to me, like a burning of a bridge, that means we're done. It's kind of like a breakup. So for me, I've had that with certain, I guess you'd call it friends now. It's happened. It happens in your life. As you get older, you progress and certain people turn out to not be how they are. And it is what it is. So that would be an extreme of a boundary. But I just want you to kind of decipher this in your mind that it doesn't necessarily need to be like an axe and a big fight and this crazy thing and this big confrontation, which you might be avoiding, which a lot of us do. It can just be a mindset shift of, I'm done. And that's okay. But on a more tame end, it can just be being honest. So if you feel like you cannot perform a certain task today for a certain someone, let's say your mother texts you and is like, honey, I need you to do this, this, and this today. Or can you call me when you get a second because your dad needs this? Or I'm outside your front door or I'm going to be outside your front door in 5 minutes. Does that ever happen to you? Can you answer and I need you to do this and this and this? Or can you run to the store and get me whatever? Just the demanding stuff. And you might be thinking of different scenarios in your own mind. A boss could be doing this. I think that the tamest, most amazing way to do this is to calmly reply in that text or that phone with the most authentic, honest version of no. And it doesn't have to be aggressive. It can just be, my day is full. I really can't. Maybe tomorrow or maybe next week. Or if you don't want to go to dinner with certain friends, maybe you're a introverted non-sapphire that you just don't want to go to the dinner with the friends. That's okay. I think that the best way to start setting up boundaries is to find your own ways. And that's what I did. I literally took out a notebook and I started to write down different ways of saying no. So one that I'll give you that works really well is, I really can't today. Can we revisit it next week? Chances are the person's not going to bug you next week. So that's something that I do a lot, is just to move it away so that I'm not so feeling like I just have to say yes to appease that person and break that boundary that I've set for myself. I just say, I really can't today. It's just not a good day for me. Can we revisit it next week? Cool? I hope that this helped you guys. There is a great book that I read on boundaries. I will link it down below. There's a boundaries workbook and a boundaries book. And the workbook I loved. I love a good workbook. And it just completely transformed the way that I saw things, the way that it didn't need to be this big confrontation. And I loved it. So I hope that you guys love today. And I hope that you don't feel or need to feel like a bad person, that you now know that, and that you can set boundaries for yourself and you will be a happier, healthier person for it. So if this set off any boop, 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 little bubbles in your head of okay, you need to set that boundary, share in the live chat, because that live chat's about to disappear. So you can just spew all of the stuff of who is it in your life that's triggering you that you know you need to set a boundary with? How can you deal with that? What's the stuff that that person is demanding, or that environment or that thing is demanding of you, or that situation is demanding of you? And where are you not going to tolerate it anymore? God, I'm so excited for you. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, dudes.
Let's go.